For several months, the growing cries of hunger, poverty, desperation and anxiety about the future reached a peak, resonating even among Nigerians in the diaspora. Despite this escalating unrest, it seemed that Nigerian leaders, who many believed had the means to address these concerns, remained unresponsive and indifferent. This apparent neglect triggered widespread agitation and led to calls for protest across the country. The people's mounting frustration was further inflamed by the leaders' continued extravagance. What began as a call to end bad governance soon evolved into days of rage. Over the last year, Nigeria has grappled with many challenges, including widespread hunger, economic crisis, and alleged mismanagement of scarce resources. And so, it was only a matter of time before citizens pushed back and said enough is enough. This gave birth to the hashtag #EndBadGovernance slogan, which quickly garnered momentum on social media. And on August 1st, 2024, Nigerians took to the streets in a bold cry for change.
You are either being loyal to us or you remain a coward. You either protect us. We are your children. Shooting at me, you are shooting at your daughter.
Regardless of differing viewpoints on the protest, it is evident that Nigerians are expressing their frustration with the system and are determined to push for reform. Roots TV has collated a comprehensive overview of the protests and surrounding events that have unfolded over the past 7 days across Nigeria.
And it's all right, but presidential speech failed to address our demand, and that's why we are still outside there. I will keep pressing forward until our demands are made.
The government's insufficient response to Nigeria's critical issues has intensified widespread discontent and disenchantment among the populace. President Bola Tinubu's administration has repeatedly urged citizens to endure hardship, while the political elites indulges in opulence, seemingly disregarding the suffering of the people. Examples include the acquisition of a new presidential aircraft. What about the extensive spending on renovating the vice president's unoccupied residence and maintaining the largest cabinet since 1999? The country's infrastructure, it remains in disarray, evidenced through dilapidated roads, inadequate healthcare services, and limited access to quality education. The call for protests was organized via social media using the hashtag #EndBadGovernance and inspired by the recent success of protesters in Kenya, who forced the governments there to scrap plans to increase taxes. In the days leading up to August 1st, military personnel, the Nigeria Police Force, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, were on high alert, warning citizens not to allow miscreants to hijack the protests. Traditional religious leaders were also weaponized to alter the protest's trajectory.
Security and what have you. And Alhamdulillah, the president listened to us. We are those who became the ambassadors of this government, or the people of Nigeria, to Niger Republic when, ECOWAS was about to be aparted. And we went there to Niger and talked to the people of Niger, and it yielded a fruitful result. And people are expecting that what is happening in Nigeria, that we should come and see President. And Alhamdulillah, we're here. We met with the President, and Alhamdulillah, President welcome us and appreciate what we are here for, what we brought.
The protest started on August 1st. As stipulated, there was a massive turnout with numerous Nigerians filling the streets in cities nationwide, united in their call for improved governance and an eradication of corruption. The protesters mobilized to express their grievances and advocate for a brighter tomorrow. Nigerians across various states flooded the streets to express their anger and grievances against the government. from Lagos, the nation's capital, Abuja, to Port Harcourt in the southeast, to Kano in the north, a diverse assembly of protesters of all ages, students, laborers, and professionals, carried signs and banners proclaiming messages such as "Enough is enough," "The cost of living has exceeded the living," "End corruption and bad governance," "Revamp Nigeria," "Education is a right, not a privilege," among others. Despite initial fears of violence and intimidation, the first day of the protest remained largely peaceful, with security forces maintaining a watchful presence. In some cities, protesters were seen offering food and water to police officers and vice versa, symbolizing their shared desire for a better Nigeria.
Wike, this is not the Nigeria we want to. We are not fighting anybody. See what your boys are doing. We are not fighting anybody, Wike. Wike, it is our right to protest. Wike, it is our right to protest. It is our right to protest.
By day 2 of the protest, things took a turn for the worst. The largely peaceful movement was taken over by political elements and anarchists. This happened mostly in the northern states of Kano, Borno, Katsina, Kaduna, Jigawa, and Yobe, where the state governors were forced to impose curfews. It was also glaring that the southeastern states would not participate in the Solidarity March. The X-platform was agog with chants of betrayal. Shehu Sani, for example, took to his X accounts to call out the Igbos for not joining the protests. While South-South states like Rivers, Edo, and Delta mildly participated, it was obvious that the North had gotten the clarion call and ran with it in a different direction. The protests became chaotic and bloody in the northern states. It took willful force from the military to quell the storm. This was bound to happen at some point because the difference in poverty, hunger, and out-of-school children's data, respectively, between the North and the South is very glaring. Mostly exacerbated by their leaders who persistently refuse to do anything to better the lot of their people. This high rate of idle, unengaged, and uneducated youth is a ticking time bomb waiting to happen.
They started doing this thing again. They just started throwing tear gas right now.
By day 4 of the protest, and after several calls for the president to address the nation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu addressed the country. While reiterating his administrative achievements, he emphasized certain policies that cannot be reversed and urged protesters to join hands with him on his renewed hope agenda. The highly anticipated speech on the #EndBadGovernance movement elicited varied reactions, with some criticizing the perceived lack of empathy, others feeling the protesters' demands were not adequately addressed, and some remaining indifferent. A notable letdown for many was the absence of an announcement regarding the reduction in the price of premium motor spirit, a return to the era of fuel subsidy.
My dear Nigerians, especially our youths, I have urged you loud and clear. I understand the pain and the frustration that drive these protests, and I want to assure you that our government is committed to listening and addressing the concerns of our citizens.
By day 5, the agitations had fizzled out, with protesters losing momentum due to a significant decline in coordination and participation. The once vibrant demonstrations dwindled as the numbers fell short of expectations, undermining the movement's impact and effectiveness. In a bid to give the protest a last-minute push for the protest to gather momentum after days of initial failures, some of the protest organizers called for a million march protest on the 10th of August, a move that also failed as many people refused to come out to participate. The lack of coordination gave security forces the edge to nip it in the bud and deter many from joining the protests. The protests could have made a significant impact if coordinated properly, as observed in the early stage of the Kenyan protest, but the lack of leadership, political consideration, meddling, and violence halted the trajectory of the protests. Despite the #EndBadGovernance movement tragically failing to achieve its anticipated outcomes, leaving many disillusioned and questioning the effectiveness of the protest in addressing the governance issues it sought to confront, one thing is clear. There is a shift in the mindset of Nigerians who, tired of enduring severe hardships, are now challenging and demanding more from the government. Merely offering superficial explanations for poor governance no longer pacifies them. Neither does the distribution of palliative benefits to a select few. Whether it is cheaper grains or student loan packages, the populace is rallying against unjust regulations, excessive taxation, ineffective systems, and detrimental policies that perpetuate hunger and poverty. The government must proactively address the people's needs rather than reactively responding to their actions due to unfulfilled promises and aspirations.
Let's just cut it down. Please, they want to rise the law, and we are all here. It is not funny. If they are not going to build us a house or give us something, or they are not going to invest in us as a female or as a woman, we have men. We have capable men. We have men that they can give these opportunities to. They will take care of us. We invest in our men. Empower them.